Hey everybody, it's Paula. Welcome back to my channel, Stitching in High Heels. I know it's been ages since I was able to record a video, and thank you to all my subscribers who stuck with me. Anybody who's new, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoy what I have to share, and I hope to get back to doing this more regularly now that my class load isn't going to be as heavy. So I figured what I would do today, I do have an FFO that I want to show you guys because I'm really pleased with how it came out. A few finishes that I had through the end of the year. I want to show you the ornament I received in an exchange and the piece that I sent out in return because I love the ornament that I got, and I'm pretty happy with the work that I did to send on the ornament that I sent to Laura. So I want to show you those, and then we'll get to the WIP parade. I know hopefully that's what caught some new attention here. I think Amy Gable Stitcher hit it on the head when she said that this is bowl season for FlossTube because everybody's doing WIP parades. And I've just been enjoying watching what everybody's doing. I love seeing things that are different that I wouldn't necessarily stitch, but are worth looking at. And of course my wish list grows every time I see what other people are working on. So without further ado, let's jump right in. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by. And I hope you, like I said, I hope you enjoy. So the first thing that I have that I want to show you is an FFO. And this is Winter Whites by Summerhouse Stitchworks. And this I got with the finishing kit from Silver Needle last year. I don't think it was an exclusive, so here it is. And it came with this little snowflake charm, and I put the 2022 charm on there. I've kind of been doing that. I saw that, I forget who it was first started doing that with their charms. Piece of hair there. With their ornaments and finishes. I know Helen D uses them, a couple other people. So that's Winter Whites. I think I showed you guys the finish when I finished it last year, but I made it into the drum, and I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. Any of you who watch Helen D know that she did a seasonal berry stitch along all of last year with the Erica Michaels berries. I did finish this one, which is Pick of the Patch. This is one of the autumn ones. Hopefully the light's not shining through too much there. This is stitched on a piece of either 18 or 20 count Aida from Color and Cotton. It was one of their mystery grab bags, so they're not labeled. All I know is it's a green. It was great fabric to work on, and I used all the called for threads in that. So now I've got to get back into FFOing and try to get that finished into a berry. This is another finish that I had since we were together last, and this is Moon Garden by Blackbird Designs. This has been out of print for quite a while, and it's one of those charts that you just can't find. But thanks to a lovely lady who is part of the Homespun Needlework Facebook group run by Julie Kersave, Patricia Gary lent me the chart, and I was able to get it stitched up. This is, I left the tag on so I could remember, this is a piece of French lilac 32 count Lugana from Picture This Plus. Had it in my stash for quite a while, and I always pictured this piece stitched on a purple. So here's my finish. The green is a DMC. I didn't have the light green that it called for. But other than that, it's using the called for threads. So I'm pretty happy with that. Got to figure out how I'm going to finish it and what I'm going to do to display it. The next thing I finished is my Nice List by the Little Stitch Girl. This was a piece from the Black Needle Society Nice List box last year, and I finally pulled it out and I stitched it, and here it is. It's stitched with the materials that came in the box. This was a piece of gray even weave. I forget what kind of linen it was. The this is a special, the green, the red, and the beard are, I believe they're Classic Colorworks. We were gifted all the threads in the box. And then the other colors are Sullivan's floss. It was the first time I've worked with Sullivan's. It was nice to work with. It feels a little different than DMC, but it was just as good to work with. So I've got an idea for how I'm going to FFO this, so hopefully I'll be able to share that with you soon. So there you have it, my nice list by the Little Stitch Girl. I don't know, I mean, we're a year out. She's not a designer I follow, so I'm not sure if this has been released. I would think it probably has been or will be soon. So bear with me, I've got piles everywhere, it feels like. So, and then I went to work for a shift at the 911 center on Friday and found out that I was going to have to stay until 8 o'clock Saturday morning, which was definitely not part of the plan. But I took advantage of it and I finished this. This is Gathering Snowflakes by Misty Purcell of Luminous Fiber Arts. This is one, she has a series, I think there's 5 of them out now. There's Gathering Clover, which I finished earlier. This is Gathering Snowflakes, there's Gathering Honey, Gathering Acorns, and Gathering Berries. I have a plan to stitch them all. This is 32 count Salted Caramel Lugana, also from Misty. This is a Victorian Motto Shop floss. I believe the color's Sky Blue. So I'm going to do them all on this fabric with a different Victorian Motto floss. So, and then I have an idea how I want to finish them, but I need to get all 5 of them stitched before I can do that because my finish is going to involve all 5. So that's my FFO and my finishes. Then I'm going to talk about quickly some gifts. So I reached out to Laura from Stitching by the Shore and asked her if she wanted to do an ornament exchange, just the 2 of us, and she graciously agreed. And I love Laura's stitching and her finishing. If you're not watching her, you really should. I'll put a link to her down below. She does beautiful work. And she's also incorporating her paper crafting with her stitching. So she's started doing artist trading cards, which that has been fascinating for me to watch. And I hope to be able to do a little bit of that in the coming year. She just works on a great variety of projects. So, and she's also working on scrapbooking some of her finishes, which has me intrigued, and I think I may be trying to do that with some of my smaller pieces going forward too. So here's the ornament that she stitched for me. My dogs have been up here, so I've got hair everywhere. But here's this. I love this. This is, cardinals are some of my favorite birds. And just, I love green, and everything about this is so perfect. And I love what she did with this felt on the back. She has, because of her history with paper crafting, she has a die cut machine, and she used the die cut to cut the shape for the felt. And it's just lovely. It comes out so much neater than, you know, I have pinking shears and rotary cutters with fluted edges, and this just looks so much cleaner and neater than anything I've been able to come up with. And then also with the ornament, she sent me this beautiful card that I know she made. I just love it, and I'm going to keep it and display it. I might put it in a little frame. I have one that's just about this size. And then she also sent me, and I haven't taken them, oh right, she included, these are hand dyed by Rolanda flosses. So she sent me 3 of these. And I love the colors in these, so I'm going to have to find something to use these with. So, but they're beautiful. And what I'm even more excited about is that she sent me some of her handmade note cards in a variety of options. I haven't taken these out. I hope there's not too much glare. This one looks almost like Queen Anne's lace is what it reminds me of. This one has just a simple flower. here's a star or a snowflake one is actually what that reminds me of. And then this one has other flowers on it. So I'll be using these for special mail because I love them so much, and it's going to be a challenge to use them and not hoard them. There's those. And then another gift that I'm especially pleased with, my husband got me this, and I hope you can see this. This is wood. It's got my initial and some really nice engraving on it. There's that. And when you open it up, inside are these scissors, and they're just beautiful, and the blades on them are, I've been using them, they cut like a dream, so I've been enjoying them very much. So that's another, I was very pleased with that. I have no idea what brand scissors they are. I don't know where he got them, you know, and the fact that they're in this little case is just perfect. So that is all of the things that I wanted to share with you that are not WIPs. And I'm going to title this video, I think, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I'm going to put this out there. I was brutally honest and pulled out everything that has a stitch in it. And we'll see where it goes. Hopefully my goal by the end of the year is to have a few less. And hopefully none of my piles are going to crash and burn. Because like I said, I've got piles on the table here next to me. Everything's kind of heaped up. So here we go. And these aren't in any real particular order, except some of my older WIPs that I haven't worked on in a very long time are at the bottom of the stack. But that doesn't mean that the rest of these are in chronological order. So sit back and enjoy, and here we go. This is a piece that I worked on, actually worked on in the wee hours of yesterday morning as well. This is Loose Feathers Summer by Blackbird Designs. I am going to be doing, I'm sure you've seen other people do these, and there's 3 of them. There's summer, fall, and winter, I believe. And I am going to do all 3 of them on the same piece. And I'm using a piece of antique lace by, I believe it's either Seraphim or XJU Designs. Let me see what it says here. Yeah, this is Seraphim. It is Lugana, and it's 28 count. You know, I'll put my board up here. Those other ones were probably hard to see. And here's where I'm at with this. I'm using all of the called for threads. And I apologize ahead of time. I have not ironed anything. This is going to be one of those WIP parades, which I don't mind at all. But so last night I worked some on the flower here, or this plant here, put these lighter colored leaves in. I didn't get too much done on it because I kind of got to a point where I hit a wall and I knew I was going to have trouble counting properly, so I stopped. But that's where I am with that one. Next piece, the next 2 that I have to share with you are a couple of Mill Hill buttons and beads kits. The first one is called Espresso. They did, I think it was last year, they did a series of these that are oriented around beverages. There's a cafe mocha, there's espresso. I don't remember what they all are, but I did collect all of them. And I'm going to do them with the kit materials, so they're on perforated paper, DMC threads, Mill Hill buttons, and this is where I've gotten to with the espresso. I only worked on this one time, so I'm pretty pleased with my progress. I do want to get back to it. I'm going to say that I will do my best not to tell you how much I love each and every one of these pieces, and that I have to get back to it, because that's what we all do during WIP parades, right? We find out how much we love our pieces again. And then this is a more recent start. This is another buttons and beads kit. This one is called Fall Beach. And I do apologize, I'm doing this blind, so I hope you're seeing these in my viewfinder. I'll see when I go back and review the video. And then I worked on this a couple of times. These are kind of my travel pieces. I leave them in my bag that goes with me when I go to work or anything. And this is where I've gotten on that one. So Until 2020, I did my first buttons and beads kit. And that was the first time I had stitched on perforated paper, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. But I do enjoy it. It's nice for something different. I've picked up some ornaments from Nail Hill, and I want to do them. I think it'll be easier to finish them. I've seen how Vana finishes them to give them a little bit more weight. But it seems pretty easy that you just cut around your stitching and finish them that way. This next piece is a piece that I've had started for quite a long time. It is the Lizzie Kate Double Flip Christmas Spirit with Charm series. And I'm doing them all on a piece of banding. And here's what the whole piece will look like. I hope you're seeing that without a whole lot of glare. So I had gotten quite a bit done on it, and I put it away. I'm not completely sure why. I remember feeling like I was almost bored with it or not enjoying it, so I put it away. And I pulled it out again recently. I joined the Facebook group WIP Warriors. I think last year they were the No New Starts group. This year they have a whole bunch of different paths that you can take. And they have one that is Swiwi or Stitch What You Want When You Want track, and that's perfect for me. It'll be incentive to get my WIPs together, which is how I came to be here. And I really want to end the year with fewer than I started, but I don't want to confine myself to not starting something if there's something I really want to work on. So here's where I'm at. It's on the Q-snaps because I have been working on it. This is my 25/7 piece. I do my best to get a little bit on it every day. Sometimes it's 25 stitches, sometimes it's 25 minutes, sometimes it's a couple lengths of thread. So I'm working on, so they come with two sections in a chart, and I'm on the next to the last chart. So I finished up gifts. And I'm working on, this one says Wonder, and it has some stars. When I picked it up, I had to do cheer, so I did this a couple weeks ago, and then I went on to gifts, and here. I make a lot of progress. This is the one I keep on my desk when I work from home, and I have conference calls that I don't have to have my camera on, so I'll pull this out. It's, blocks of color, the counting's fairly easy. So I've gotten some good progress on this. And then after Wonder, I've got two more down here, and to finish that outside border. The complementary border comes with another solidly stitched border outside this checkerboard one. I'm not going to do that because my banding, you can see here, has the white stitching on the side. So hopefully this will be a finish fairly soon. Keep the conference calls coming. And before I pulled out the Lizzie Kate, and that's been a WIP longer than this one, so I wanted to get it going. My conference call piece when I work from home was this. It's Renaissance by Paw Printing's Designs. And this is from 2004. I don't know if you can get any of Paw Printing's charts anymore. I've been blue is one of my favorite colors, and I've been really attracted to pieces with blues in them recently. So this was a start late last spring, I think, spring of 2022. And the copyright on it, like I said, is from 2004. So it's still in the Q-snaps. I'm on the lower half of the design. So this big band here in the middle is the center band. So now I've got a repeat of this black work band, and then there's some different stitching bands underneath. I've been working on it, so that's why it's still in the Q-snaps and why I haven't necessarily taken it out so you can see the whole thing. But that's where I am with that. Next up this is a fairly recent start for me, and it's one I've been working on a lot. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I've had some trouble putting it down. But I have a seat at the Mirabilia Retreat in Charlotte in October, and I would like to take this one with me. And this is Garden Verses. The copyright on this one is it's 1994. So it's definitely an older Mirabilia. It does have metallic threads in it. but it doesn't have any beads. And it's been a pretty quick stitch so far. And it calls for the old DMC, the nasty stuff that was on a spool. I don't know if any of you remember that. It was horrible to work with, and that's the gold thread that it calls for in this border and in some of the edges of her cloak and everything. I've subbed it out for DMC Diamant, and this it calls for a gold, and then to blend the gold with a strand of floss. And I'm using 2 different colors of the Diamante. One of them has like a black thread wound in it, so that's what I'm using instead of the blend. And I'm not sure how well they'll show up, but here's where I'm at with it. So this is pretty much the whole thing that I've gotten, everything I've gotten done on this. There is a little bit up off the Q-snap here, but I started in the middle, so her knee is up here, and that's where I started from. And you can see the 2 different golds down here, I hope. They show up in person. I hope I'm getting this into the frame here. But I love the colors in this. So I want to finish up this piece down here. There's a lot of color changes down there. It's like a floral carpet almost. So I want to finish that up, and then there's another pillar out here. Get that done, and then I can come over and start back on her cloak and work my way up. So this is Garden Verses by Mirabilia, and this is definitely out of print. I apologize about that. I'm sure you could, if you keep your eyes out, you can maybe find it on the secondary market. I'm not sure how popular it was when it was released. I know there were some Mirabilias that I had held off buying when they were released, because when you look at, you know, when she started using so many beads and charms, and they make the pieces beautiful, but kitting them up kind of would blow the budget. And there were some of them that I put off buying at the time because I never had any idea that charts were going to go out of print. And now there's several that I wish I had bought. You really can't find them anymore, and if you do, they're pretty high priced. So lesson learned on that. And if you see a Mirabilia that you really like, go ahead and buy it. I know I just saw a post in a Facebook group recently. There was another Mirabilia that's just gone out of print recently. So they are still retiring some of their designs. So next up is I started this in November. So it's a fairly recent start, but it's one I've been wanting to do for quite a while. This is Winter Rose Manor by With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. And I know you've seen this. Lots of people have been stitching it. I know Amy, the Globetrotting Stitcher, she's had a finish on this recently. Carol Saltbox Stitcher, I think, talked about it recently. Hers has been finished for quite a while, I believe. But I know she talked about it in one of her videos. So that's the chart. I'm stitching this on 18 count Aida in the color Shale by Picture This Plus. So this fabric is kind of interesting. It shows up differently. Like I'm seeing kind of a pinkish cast to it now, or a purpley cast to the gray. But in some lights it definitely looks more gray than pink or purple. And I've got the roof done, and this is the narrow side of the house. I know a lot of people have swapped out. The called for color is Conch by, I forget if it's Weeks or Gentle Art. I know a lot of people have swapped it out because they wanted a pinker house. I'm leaving it, and I really like the variegation in the skeins that I have. So as much as I love pieces with houses in them, and I seem to be drawn to them, I often find stitching houses kind of boring, to be honest, especially one that's as big as this one is. So I did a middle start with this, which was right up here by the roof, and I want to get the house done, and then I'll move on. The borders on this are interesting because it isn't the same border all the way around, and it's got that big pot of flowers up here. Lots of other interesting things, and the red birds. So I can't wait to do more on this. And this is Winter Rose Manor by With Thy Needle and Thread. This is another one. I know you've seen lots of this. This is Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. And I love all the Hawk Run Hollow pieces. So Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough is working on a year at Hawk Run Hollow, and she's been doing Zoom sessions, I believe it's the second Thursday of every month, for folks. And I'm not sure if she's opened it back up or if it's still closed. She had been at capacity, but I know at one point she was looking, there were some people that either finished their pieces or weren't going to participate anymore. So I jumped in, and it was a toss-up between Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow or Shores of Hawk Run Hollow, and I liked the fabric that I had for this one better than the fabric I had for Shores, so I started this one. You'll see I finished this first block, and now I'm on this second block, and this block is almost solidly stitched. You don't stitch the sky, but that house is all stitched, and this snow down here is all stitched. So I'm using a piece of 20 count Aida. I think this is Rustico Aida. One strand of DMC. I'm doing the DMC conversion. So here's where I'm at with this. So you can see I've got the first block done. There's a personalization in it. I think this flower is the wrong color. But by the time I realized it, I was going to leave it. And then I've got the fence done here, and I want to get, there's light poles here and here. So once I get that done, I can outline it and do the snow. That'll be great for working in one of the Zoom stitch-alongs, because it'll be less counting and lots of stitching. It's a fun group. There's some really fun conversation that happens in that group. I'm really glad to participate, even though I missed the last session. So that's where I am with that. And then I also belong to the 12 Days of Christmas Facebook group. And I feel horrible. Right now, Joe, I think, who also does the International Hermit and Stitch Weekends, I think she's the one who started that. But it's for anyone who's stitching any 12th day of Christmas, 12 Days of Christmas designs, or multiple designs, because there's plenty out there. I chose this one on the 12th day by the Cat's Whiskers. This is one that I've wanted to start for a long time. So I started it last year, and unfortunately it hasn't gotten a whole lot of love since I started it. But I'm using a piece of, I believe it's 32 count Edinburgh linen, opalescent linen from Zweigart. It's antique white with the opalescent in it, and I'm stitching it with Weeks Dye Works Bethlehem. So I got all of this over one stitching done. That I didn't realize it was in there, and I pulled it out and started it and said, oh my stars. And then this is the day one block. So I really need to give this some more attention and get back to it, because I like the colors. It's a piece I'd love to have done. So more to come hopefully this year as I work through all of these. This is another older WIP that I had. This is a Mill Hill kit. It's not a button and bead kit. It's actually got fabric in it, 14 count Aida, but it's the Jim Shore, one of the Jim Shore pieces. A couple years ago there was a snowman, there was a reindeer, I think, Christmas tree. I think there was 4 of them, and I bought all 4 of them. And I started this one and promptly stalled out on it. I'm not sure why, but I have picked it up recently, and here's where I'm at with that. So I started doing that circle around it. I've got a lot of the snowman done. So this also lives in my backpack that goes with me to work. So hopefully I'll be able to pull this out and work on it a bit more. So, because I like how it looks, and I think I might have been just having a little trouble seeing the fabric one night or something. But that's the Jim Shore snowman. And if any of you who belong to the Facebook group Magazine Monthly Stitch Along, they last year, and they did it again this year in January, it's called Bringo. So it's like a bingo board. You pick, I believe it's 25 pieces. They call a number, and that's the piece that you work on for each day. And it can be WIPs, it can be new starts. I had a lot of fun with it, but I didn't participate this year because was trying to get caught up with some things after a hectic semester, and kind of didn't want to put pressure on myself going into a new semester, which starts tomorrow. I've been meaning to film this video for a month, and here we are the day before classes start, and I'm finally getting it done. But so this is by Twisted Willow Designs, I believe. Let me see. Yep, and it's called Deck the Paws. You see it here. And I'm changing these two dogs. I started it last year, and I'm changing the dogs to match the coloring of two of our dogs. So this is going to be gray with black here and one black ear to match our Chica. And then this one's going to be black and white because it reminds me of our little dog, Zoe, whom isn't with us any longer. She's gone to the Rainbow Bridge, but this will be a nice memorial. So I started it during Bringo last year, and I know what, oh, sorry about that. I got a pile that's fallen over here. I know what stalled me out, trying to get the legs figured out, and I made a counting mistake in this bigger dog. So you can see here's the bigger dog. This is on an old Silkweaver, piece of old Silkweaver fabric. It's called, I think, medium antique green. Might be a 32 count, and I think it's a Lugana. I'm not sure. But here's where I am with that. And once I get the counting figured out, I think I made a mistake. Yeah, you can see a little bit where I frogged back here. So I had the back legs messed up a little bit. So I think I got everything that I needed to frogged, and I should be able to pull it out and make some decent progress. And then I'll have to figure out the black and white pieces over here on the little dog. But that would be a good one to get finished this year. I'd be perfectly happy if I could do that. And last year, Laura of Brenda and the Serial Stitcher reached a milestone birthday, and there was a stitch along, or in my case a start along, organized for Elizabeth Isles by the Scarlet Letter. And it was Laura's big birthday Sal was the hashtag that was used for it. So this is the whole piece. This is Elizabeth Isles. I'm not too keen on the verse down here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch this top portion. Several people have done that. Emily from Eclectic Stitches, and I forget her floss tube name at the moment, but she was doing the same thing. So it should be easy to adapt this border. When I look at here and how the corners are down there, it should be easy to adapt the border. And I think depending on how it works out, I may or may not include those two borders there as well. So I'm stitching this on a piece of fabric that I found at an Etsy shop, and it's made out of hemp. It's a 32 count. The name on it is London Fog, and I love the coloring in it. It's beautiful mottled pinky brown, bluey gray. And let's see if I can get the whole thing on here. So here's where I'm at. See, again, I said I didn't get any of these iron. So I have a good chunk of the border. The border all across the top is done. The first cherub on the side is done. And then I'm getting into the other elements here. I'm trying to save the big bird for last. He's going to be a fun stitch. And the threads I'm using are the Leo and Roxy. I guess they're changing their name. It's going to be just Roxy Floss. But I did buy the conversion for that. So this is my version of Elizabeth Isles. And this one isn't a bad one to pick up and put down. So it's one that I can take with me if I'm traveling. And the fabric is, pretty easy to see, to work on. So hopefully that'll get some love this year. I talked already about Helen D. from Helen D. Stitches had a seasonal berry stitch along last year, and I showed you that I finished Pick of the Patch here. Now I also started, I think this one's just called Autumn, and the picture on the back is just the toppers. So that's this one here. And I'm using another piece of the Color and Cotton that I got. And again, this is either an 18 or a 20 count Ada. No color name given because it was from the grab bag. And I'm using a Silken Colors silk thread called Autumn Bouquet. So I don't think I have all that much left to do on it. I just put it down because my hands were starting to get rough and it's hard to work with silks sometimes for me in the winter. So here's that. It isn't showing up quite as nicely as I would like on this fabric, but I'm still pleased with it and I'm going to keep going. So that is Autumn Berry. And I finished 2 of the summer berries also, so I guess the next challenge is going to be making them into berries. There's some great tutorials out there. Helen has one. I think Vanna Pfeiffer has one as well. So there's lots of resources. I just have to take a deep breath and sit down and do it. I might take advice from Stacy, the 911 stitcher, and make a couple out of cotton quilting fabric first, get some practice and go from there. So next up is Heartstring Samplery, My Necessity. This is one of her coffee series. And it says, "You're the cream in my coffee, you're the sole in my shoe, my necessity, I'd be lost without you." And you can see the motifs are very, some of the motifs are coffee oriented, like here's coffee urns and cups. This one has spoons. So it's kind of neat because they're a little bit subtle, and then you look at it and you say, oh wow, I know what that is. I'm stitching this on a piece of Winter Moon, I believe it's Belfast, I don't think it's Cashel, by Zweigart. It's just one of their standard colors, and I'm using Gentle Arts Cinders. I like the red and black. So there's where I'm at with that. I've got the first band, You're the Cream, and I'm working on the second band down here. So this is, you know, working on a monochromatic piece sometimes is just very relaxing. So one of these days I will pull that back out and get some more good progress on it, I'm sure. This next start I'm blaming entirely on Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. This is Glendon Place, Sir Thomas, and here's the picture. This is a smaller picture. I took it just from the one of the fiber packs. So he is full of all sorts of fun threads. There's lots of Rainbow Gallery threads, and I think the rest are DMC. I don't think, or maybe I bought Sullivan's. I guess they're called for Sullivan's, so I got them to stitch on. And Pam bought him and started him last year. I think he was her birthday start last year. And let me look at this quick, see if I can figure out which way is up. There we go. And I bought him, and I bought him from Carla's Cobweb Corner this year, and I started him. He's on the called for fabric, which is China Pearl, and I think this is a 28 count Lugana or Jobelin, I forget which. It's an even weave, and I'm using all of the called for threads. So here's where I got with this. It's a pretty easy stitch. It's a fun stitch. I really only worked on it Thanksgiving Day and one other day, so I think I made pretty good progress. There's sparkles in the blue here and in the silver there. I'm not sure how well they're showing up, but there you have it. Next we have Winter Quakers from Rosewood Manor, and I started this, I'm thinking it might be 2018. A friend of mine had surgery, and I went down to stay with her for a long weekend, help her run errands, and because she couldn't drive. And while I was down there, I started this while we were just hanging out. It's I'm using all of the called for materials, so it's Valdani threads on a piece of, I believe it's Helix linen by Picture This Plus. Actually, I don't think it's Helix. Helix was the Leeds house. I apologize, I forget which color of blue this is, but, oh, here it is. Actually, it's Dwarf linen, and it's the called for. And I'm not sure if this is one of the blues that Picture This Plus had a hard time making with the dye changes in 2020 and 2021, because I've had this for quite a while. So this is where I'm at. This is the gigantic diamond in the middle. I think this is the biggest motif in the whole piece. So that's done. I've got the cardinal, some of the cardinals done. I've got the some of the snowflakes down here. So that's where that is. This would be a good piece to pick up when I have short periods of stitching, because there's all the little motifs. And it's always fun to finish a motif and feel like you're getting a finish in. And this fabric is just beautiful. I love this piece. And I'm doing what I said I wouldn't do, right? Now the pieces that we're getting into are definitely older pieces that I have not worked on in quite a while, but I'm not ready to abandon them. So first up is Holly and Ivy Sampler by Teresa Wentzler, TW Design Works. So this one, I love this border. You know, Teresa Wentzler samplers have these amazing borders, but it's also the reason that I put it down as quickly as I did. I'm using a piece of, I think it's a mint green, I think the color was called mint green. It's a Zweigart even weave, but they don't make this color anymore. I picked it up just as it was discontinued at an LNS, and here's where I'm at and where I've been at. This border is full of confetti. I don't know, you can probably see that there. And it's not unexpected. It's a Teresa Wentzler. But I need to do a little bit of work on that, because you do all the stitching and then of course there's back stitching. The good news on the border on this one is the border is the most complicated part. So I'm starting to feel the urge to work on a Teresa Wentzler again. So I've got several that are started. I need to just figure out which one I'm going to work on. This is Earth Dancer by Butternut Road, which is Marilyn Levitt Imblum, Nora Corbett of Mirabilia's mother. I bought this as a kit, although I swapped out the kit materials. And she's done, the stitching is finished on this. I need to do the beading and all of this fringe work here, if you can see that. And that's where I'm stalled on it. So Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough also does a Fancy Folk Stitch Together Zoom session on the 4th Thursdays of the month. And I might pull this one out and try to get some of the beading done. So here she is. You can see this is all beading in here, and then the fringe work comes here. Another reason that I kind of slowed down on this is I believe this is a piece of 36 count fabric, and I'm going to have to make some adjustments to the beads, I know. But her bodice here is all bead work, and there's beads in her fringing down here. She's going to be stunning when she's finished. I also have, I had bought a fat half of this material, fabric, and I have Spirit Dancer to do on the same fabric. So I'd like to finish her off and actually get started on Spirit Dancer. So there she is. Hopefully you'll be seeing more of her through this year. This Dreamcatcher was a lot of fun to stitch. It's a lot of really long stitches that are almost couched down, and it's a rainbow gallery fiber, and it was fun to do. So there she is. What's next? This is Day Surrendering to Night. The artwork is by Sheila Wolk, W-O-L-K, and she's charted by Custom Crafts. If you can see that there. Hopefully there's not a lot of glare from the ring light. So this was going to be my very first full coverage piece, and I was doing it on a piece of 28 count even weave, 2 threads, 2/2 full cross. And here is how far I had gotten. I started in the top left corner, and I was working 10 square boxes, 10, the grids of 10 stitches. And that's as far as I've gotten. I lost the chart for a while, then I lost the box with all the threads in it, And now I'm thinking I may restart it and go with like an 18 count or even a 20 or 22 count Ada, just for easy stitching. And maybe do 20 2 threads, half cross. I haven't decided yet, but it is, I do still love the picture, so hopefully I'll make a decision and move forward. This is from the Better Homes and Gardens Heirloom Christmas Stockings book. This is the Toys and Games stocking. And I hate to admit exactly how long this has been a WIP, because I started this for one of my nephews, who is now 16, and I believe he was maybe 2 when I started it. I'm not going to say the number out loud, but you can do the math. And I've gotten the bottom, which is probably the most detailed part of it done. You can see that there. And I've got the back stitching and everything done on it. So I need to move up on the hutch and go forward. I will still finish it because I do like it. He's 16 and probably not interested in a toy room stocking. But like I said, I will finish it because I enjoy it. And I have the whole book. I think you can get these on Cooler Designs website now. And there's another, they were also in some of the magazines, and there's a craft room one, I think, that I want to do. So this next one probably isn't even fair to call it a WIP, and I have not touched this because it's on a piece of charcoal fabric. Let me see if I can get it closer. This is Siam Fusion from Sampler Cove, and I love the blues on this. And it was stitched on black, and I got charcoal cashel to stitch it on. And I think I started sort of near the middle, if I look at the piece of fabric that I have here. But I'm not even sure. I would have to pull out the chart. And all I got is part of that motif there. I'm stitching it in the called for silk threads. And I don't have them sitting right here. I think there's a lot of Glorianas in there. So if I can see on the dark fabric, once winter's gone and my hands aren't as rough, I would love to stitch on that again. This is another Teresa Wentzler. It's Father Winter, and I bought it as a Janlin kit, and I'm using all the kit materials. And I think you can find this if you have the Best of Samplers book. I'm not going to swear to it, but I think it might be in there, or maybe it's in the Christmas book. But I'm using the chart from the kit and the kit materials. And I do love it that it's on a piece of, I'm pretty sure this is Linda fabric. It's what was in the kit. Janlin always had great quality kits, and that's where I'm at. I admit part of the reason I haven't pulled this out recently is because when I pull it out, it's taking a little bit to find out exactly where I am on the chart and get restarted. But that is Father Winter from Teresa Wentzler. This next one is, it's another one I haven't gone back to because it takes a while to figure out where I am on the chart. And this is just a printed picture from my printer. But this is Chatelaine Designs, The King's Vegetable Garden. I bought it when it was, I believe, the mystery number 9. So I have all the called for materials. The linen, I think, is Lavender Bliss, and I think it's a 32 count, so it would be Lugana. And let's see what I can get in the screen here with my board behind it so you can see a little bit. So I've gotten, you know, these triangular pieces done here. The bottom ones are completely done. So that's where I'm at with that. And again, it takes a little bit to figure out exactly where I'm at with it, but I would love to finish it up. So I guess I need to just make it a priority. I'm kind of thinking that maybe once classes are done and I graduate in May, hopefully my stitching time will increase and I'll be able to spend some more time working on a lot of these older WIPs. This is another printout from my computer because I can't find the original chart, only my working copy. This is Edith Wolford by Mark Sostad of The Silver Lining. So this is another older piece, and I think the copyright on this is again in the 1990s. And I love Mark's use of color, and that's part of why I started this. I'm not necessarily big on irises, but when you look at the floss list and some of the colors in it, it's kind of interesting, and I really like how it plays out. This is, I believe it's a 28 count cashel, just an antique white piece of plain fabric. So, and I have all the threads with it, so it would be fairly easy to pick up and go back to. I do have a complete working copy, and I know that the chart is somewhere here. I just couldn't find it when I went to get the cover picture for it. Okay, guys, so my phone cut out on me, and I was talking about the Heirloom Nativity Sampler by Victoria Sampler. So just a reminder, this is the chart cover and what it looks like. And I'm using the threads from the thread pack. I love how they would put thread packs together so that you didn't have to spend a fortune in silks, but you could use the threads that they used in their models. So I'm using the suggested material, I know, because I could never find anything better for her than her color choices. So I think this is like a smoky pearl, maybe. Probably, it looks like probably a 32 count, so a Belfast. I know it says Weigart because it's got the thread up here in the selvage. And this is as far as I've gotten. So I'm working on this band here. I think if I remember correctly, there's a bunch of ground down there, and that's probably what stalled me out on it. So more to come on this one too. And then the next up is Teresa Wentzler's Peacock Tapestry. This is a huge piece, and I'm making it even bigger because I know I'm stitching it on a piece of 25 count even weave. And I love peacocks. They're probably my second favorite birds after cardinals. So I started it, and of course, sorry about that, guys, I had to grab something. So like all Teresa Wentzler's, it has a stunning border, and here's where I'm at with this. I got the border done all the way across the top and started down the side, and then I got into these tree leaves and got bogged down because they are confetti, just total confetti and fractional stitches. And the chart is a hand-drawn chart, so it's a little bit tough to follow, even with a working copy. So I think if I take it off the scroll frame and start using a Q-snap, it might be easier for me to get back to, because scroll frames are hard where I'm stitching now, watching TV with my husband. There's not enough room for, I'd be poking him with the scroll frame, so there's not enough room to use the frame and sit with him, and that might not be a great piece while I'm watching TV anyway. And next up is this is actually my last WIP, believe it or not. Thanks for sticking with me. This is English Garden Sampler, also by Teresa Wentzler. And this is in the Best of Sampler book, thank goodness, because the original chart for that one is also, I bought it also as a kit, is a hand-drawn chart, and they can be, we've gotten so used to computer-generated charts and how easy the symbols are to read. It gets tough to see sometimes. Here's where I'm at with that, and I know exactly why I haven't picked this one up again recently, because I'm here in this fountain scene, and it's also full of confetti, and it's a struggle to find where I am. And usually once I find out where I am, I should probably just mark it off on my working copy with highlighters. So once I find out where I am, then I'm ready to put it down. So and the other thing is, I'm using the fabric that came with the kit, and I didn't serge the edges, so it's raveling, and I don't have a lot of margin to start with. and I need to just take it off the Q-snaps and do that so I don't have to worry about the fraying anymore. And definitely, I mean, I would love to have this finished, so I guess I need to just get going. Like I said, I'm really hoping that once classes are done in May, I'll have more time to get back to these things. So that's it. We finished the WIP parade. Thanks for sticking with me this long. I hope you enjoyed some of what you saw. And I had all intentions, I really did, I had all intentions of filming this video way back in December, like right after classes started, so I could get it out there. And because of that, I was going to do a couple of giveaways that were appropriate for that point in time. I'm going to go ahead and do them anyway. And the first thing that I have to give away is a copy of the 2022 Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue. So if you didn't get one, or you didn't think you'd want one, and you've since seen people stitching on some ornaments from here and now you think you want one, here's your chance. Definitely go ahead and leave me a comment. Use the word holiday, because it says it's the special holiday issue. I'll do the random comment generator and pick somebody who leaves the word holiday in their comment. And then the other thing I have, and I have 2 of these, this is the Stitcher's Book of Days by Needlework Press. I've been using this the last couple years. A lot of people use them. If you watch Sherry, the Colorado cross stitcher, she takes hers apart and has it spiral bound so that she can add other pages. And I've been using this, but I wanted to change up how I did things, so I actually got the journal and planner from the Black Needle Society this year. I think that's going to work better for me for what I want to do. So I'm going to give away both the one of these that I bought for myself and the one I bought to give away. So if you're interested, I will do my best to get back here, probably not in 2 weeks, probably a month. And for this one, use the word needlework if you're interested. And again, I have 2 of these. So the usual giveaway rules apply. Don't say giveaway, don't say free. Be 18 so I can legally get your address. And 18. Oh, and I'd love it if you were a subscriber. I'm not really going to check. I go on the honor system. So, like I said, if you would, leave me a comment. Use the word needlework for the Book of Days. We have 2 of those. And the word holiday for the ornament issue. So thank you for sticking with me. I know this is one of my longer videos. I'm going to get this put together in 2 pieces because my camera stopped recording. And we'll go from there. And I should be back. I'm not going to commit to 2 weeks, but I'll be back within a month. Hopefully I'll have some good progress to share with you all. Otherwise, I'm thinking I have a whole lot of previous finishes, and I may start sharing one or two of those with you. And I'm doing definitely a stitch from stash here because I've looked around at my stash trying to get it organized, and I have way more than I should. So I will not suffer in stitching what I have. And I'm hoping to knock down this WIP list. So until I see you again, enjoy your stitching. I hope you have as much time as you'd like. Stay healthy, stay happy, and see you soon. Bye.